for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the fall!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast on this Monday, June 10, where I woke up to find that there's a sock missing on my mic, but it's okay. I think it'll do for now. I think we'll be able to get by. I'm just happy I woke up because I've been out of commission, actually, for the last couple of days. I was hit with one terrible flu bug that started early Saturday morning, and as a matter of fact, it probably went away maybe a few minutes ago. And to tell you the truth, I still feel like I'm hurting a little bit. But anyway, I'll live, which is the good news for some. All right, okay. This podcast was recorded actually prior to Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers, of course, so that, everyone wants to be able to watch that while this podcast is going on. But at the same time, for those of you who are watching both at the same time, thank you very much for doing so. Very much appreciated. Sick Podcast brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. Also brought to you in part by Bittt, Tibi, brewed in Quebec, a winner of a dozen international awards. Bittt Tibi offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. Bittt Tibi, embrace your true nature. Also sponsored and brought to you in part by Playground. Experience Playground's world-renowned poker experience with free food and drinks at their cash game tables. A bad beat jackpot that's over $1.1 million and climbing. Weekly promotions, daily tournaments, unmatched customer service. Why play anywhere else? Located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. Playground. And I want to let you know that in a couple of days from now, on Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to do a live show once again for the second time from Souvlaki Authentique. This time at a different location because we were in Lachine a couple of weeks ago. And this Thursday, June 13, I will be at 410 Chemin de la Grande Côte. That is in Boisbriand. And it's pretty cool because I'm going to be celebrating my name day there on Thursday, June 13, is St. Anthony's Day. Who would have thought an Antonio would be celebrating St. Anthony's at a Greek restaurant? That's how much I love Greek food. It's family operated, by the way. Greek restaurant with 7 locations. They use fresh Quebec chicken and fresh Quebec pork. Both are hand cut, marinated in-house. Their gyro is hand-stacked in-house, never frozen. No MSG in any of the recipes. Greek potatoes, not your Yaya's Greek potatoes. Unique lemon sauce. They are truly original. And thank you to our friends Terry and Costa for having us. Once again, 7 locations in and around Greater Montreal. Just to name a few, Vaudreuil-Perreault, Pierrefonds, Lachine, Les Coteaux, Ville-Marie, and of course, we'll be at Souvlaki Authentique in Boisbriand on Thursday, June 13. I very much look forward to seeing all of you there. This morning, when I did wake up, and I've been sleeping most of the last, since Saturday afternoon, I grabbed my phone and I went to see what I've missed out on social media. And one of the first things I saw was a tweet from Elliot Friedman saying that the Washington Capitals are on the verge of buying Cap Friendly. And I would imagine that's going to come at a really, really nice price. Cap Friendly has 4 owners, and I want to congratulate them and also say, God bless you. Here I am, podcasts 5 days a week, 2 days a week on the other one, radio every day, TV every day, one website, boom, boom, ching, ching, and they're going to retire. Good for you. God bless you. Smart people. And another thing that I was able to see on social media which also caught my attention, as it always does, are tweets from Grant McCagg. Before we bring up the tweets, why don't I bring him in? From recruits.ca, an independent scouting service, a former Montreal Canadian scout in the Bob Gainey administration, sporting the beautiful Sick Podcast shirt. There you have it. Look at that. He moved the microphone just so you can see it. He's co-host of the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draft Cast. Grant McCagg, how are you?
Hey, Tony. Well, just cooling down here. I had to run home to do this, to tape this with you.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I've been sleeping the last couple of days, and I just woke up a couple of minutes ago, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, we're getting it done just before the hockey game. Good thing, because I might have been getting divorced if we didn't. So. Oh,
I hear you. No, I don't want that to happen because that costs a lot of money. All right, okay. Why don't we bring up your tweets? 2 of them, back to back. I have a strange feeling that Demidov will drop to the Canadians at 5. And they will snap him up. If that happens, I would also love to see them land Yegor Surin, 2 of my favorite Russian prospects in recent memory, and given each of them a country mate to help with the adaptation. Following up after that, there's another tweet. There are plenty in the scouting world who think Levshunov is going to Chicago and Silyev is going to Anaheim. Columbus may opt for Seneca or Lindstrom. Took both out to dinner at the Combine. No shortage of intrigue this year. Folks, I'm gonna bring you in on a little secret, okay? Because I saw some of your answers to Grant's tweets, right? Some of you like, no, Grant, it's not going to happen. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. It's not going to. I'm not going to tell you it's going to happen. But I've been in the game long enough to know the media game, and I've known Grant long enough to know that he didn't just wake up this morning and felt like tweeting it. He tweeted it because after talking to a couple of people in the know, people involved, this is what he's hearing. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed it's going to happen at 100%, but it's based on the information that he has, that he tweeted what he tweeted. Am I correct?
Oh, I didn't just make it up, Tony. I don't like to make up tweets.
That's correct.
Make
That's
up stuff.
correct. You didn't just make it up.
I don't tweet just for reaction. I tweet if I tweet something, and say that I think it's because I have heard some things. So yeah, I mean I've heard it from more than one source about Levshunov, and I'm not the only one, right? It's been on social media too that Chicago might take Levshunov at 2, and keep hearing Silyev to Anaheim at 3, and when you get, the Combine, you read about Seneca and Lindstrom being taken out to dinner by Columbus. They don't take them out because they think they'd be good dinner mates, that, like, I think I'll have a good time. He likes steak. I like steak. Why don't we invite this guy out? They invite them out because they like them and they're considering them taking them. So, in Trevor's 15 years in Montreal, he never had a chance to draft a forward like Seneca or like Lindstrom. So I'm sure he likes them both a lot. Yeah, he'd love to have them. He doesn't make the final decision, and he hasn't told me one way or another. He never does. But I'm sure that Columbus would be interested in both those guys and in Demidov. It's going to be a tough decision for them if those 3 are available. And even Iginla is in that mix. So, it wouldn't shock me. Seneca, I know a lot of people don't believe it, but he could go top 5. He really could. And it might be 4 to Columbus. So we'll see. We'll see what transpires. But I think there's just a pile of intrigue. And you almost wonder, I think Montreal would really like to get Demidov. And again, that's just what I hear, right? Maybe if Demidov's there at 4 and Lindstrom and Seneca, maybe even there's talk to move up one spot, just to entice them to pass on Demidov so Montreal could take. Like, there's already going to be, Demidov is Russian, right? And there's always that bit of risk. And Lindstrom and Seneca are such good prospects that, maybe Demidov is a little higher skill-wise, than these guys, certainly than Lindstrom, and Columbus would still probably take him. But if Montreal adds a little, if they love Demidov that much, who knows? Maybe they would even say, "Look, why don't we throw you our second round pick? Let us pick 4. You take 5. You take Lindstrom or Seneca. We'll take Demidov and call it a night." But I'd love to, Tony, we were talking about it last year at the draft, how there was no excitement with trades and stuff. And this year Bob McKenzie said it, that there's just one team could have a guy 11 and another team could have that guy 2 or 3. It's just one of those draft years. So in that type of year, usually teams are a little more open to perhaps moving down a spot or two, because the guy that they really like is, like, if they think he's still going to be there, then maybe they're more, enticed to do it. It happens so rarely, but if it's ever going to happen, this might be the year. I'm hoping.
Whether it's fair or not, we've heard this before, right? A lot of people choose to point out the teams that win the Stanley Cup or go to the final have a lot of North American content. And I'm sure there's been years where there's been some Europeans in there.
Kucherov comes to mind.
Pavel Datsyuk.
Well, I mean, Tampa doesn't win a cup without Vasilevsky and Kucherov.
You're 1,000% right. Okay. But you've heard what I'm saying here. You've heard this before, right?
Absolutely.
That a lot of teams have North American content, primarily Canadian content.
Yeah.
This is a hard question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Based on what you hear or based on what you see, and I don't know how you can actually even know the answer to this, would you kind of get the feeling that Demidov would be more of an NHL regular season player and you could probably win more in the playoffs with the other guys, or is that just not fair at all?
Demidov was excellent in the MHL playoffs.
Okay.
He's the type of player that his motor's going all the time. He's competitive. No, I have no issue with. I think Demidov will help you at any time of year.
We saw that, we saw those really good players with the Rangers, obviously Panarin and Zibanejad. They were fantastic in the regular season, and they've been very, very good in many regular seasons, especially Panarin. It was a very disappointing playoffs, and that's where a lot of people started to look and say, well, look, Lafreniere was better and look, Kreider was better. And, it's one of the reasons why I asked the question, right? Obviously. Well, I don't know if you saw the show on Thursday, or pardon me, on Friday, live from Winnie's with I called you the president of the Beckett Seneca fan club, and Simon the Snake Boisvert called himself the vice president of the Beckett Seneca fan club. And so we spoke about Seneca, and he sees Seneca now entering the top 5. Like he believes that if he's drafted 5th, it's not out of place whatsoever. And he's high on Demidov, but I asked him a few questions that I want to ask you the same questions. What's the caliber of the MHL?
The MHL, it's very skilled. Like they're don't forget the CHL has, I don't know, 50 teams or whatever.
Yeah.
The MHL's maybe got half that. So it's not as watered down as far as number of players.
Got it.
Like I'd put it, I think it's probably of the caliber, certainly the playoff teams, the teams that were in the playoffs could be the, Q teams, I think, the best ones. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would think that it's that in the, Q, in between the Q and the O type level.
Wow.
Or at least equal with the Q in caliber.
So superior to WHL?
No, not as good as the WHL or OHL, but on par with at least with the Q. I mean, that's, it's different style, so it's hard to.
Got it.
But as far as skill level goes and speed,
yeah,
it's right there with the Q.
Okay. Silayev. At one point, he was making noise early on in the season. As a matter of fact, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you might have had him 1 or 2 early on in the season.
Definitely.
And then all of a sudden he was slipping. He's been out of that conversation of the top 5 or 6. For some, maybe not even in 10. And now all of a sudden he's back in the conversation and we're talking about a top 4 pick. Talk to me about his strengths and then talk to me about his weaknesses.
Well, I'll repeat there that there's guys that are ranked in some lists through 4 that could go outside the top 10. It's just so close between 2 and 12 in this draft. So, there are teams that have Soleil up 2. There are teams that will have him 10. It's just one of those drafts. I mean, if you want a big, mobile, shutdown defenseman, there'll be teams that have him too. If you are looking for an offensive defenseman who's going to put up points, there's teams that are going to have him 10. So he's not an offensive guy. We'll nip that in the bud right now, but pretty well every successful NHL playoff team has at least one big mobile shutdown defender, and that's what Soleil is going to be. So I cooled on him. I mean, he started the season, Tony, he was playing, I don't know, close to 20 minutes a game. He was a point a game for the first 3 weeks. And I was just salivating over this kid, but he didn't build on that. You like to see progression as the season goes along. Mm-hmm. And he didn't really build on that. So I at first I thought, well, this could be a Hedman type player, but the offense, as you looked at him closer and you saw more and more games and he didn't produce and his ice time went down and his confidence level, he started to cough up the puck a bit, then you cool on him a bit. But certainly, like if Anaheim, from what I hear, they want that big shutdown defender, there's not a better one in this draft class. So it wouldn't surprise me if he went 3 to Anaheim, even though I have him ranked 10th or whatever on my list.
A 17-year-old playing top 4 in the KHL. I think it's pretty impressive to say the least. Obviously, all right. Okay. Yeah. I asked Snake the question I'm going to ask you. Who's the safest defenseman in the draft? Safest pick. Can't miss.
On defense?
Yeah.
Probably Dickinson.
That's the answer you gave me.
Yeah. I mean, he's he might be the best skater in the draft class, or if he's not, I've done a scouts poll and it's not quite complete yet. Draft guide's going to be out at the end of this week, by the way.
Let's bring up a picture if we can.
Sure.
There we go. Look at that.
There it is.
Huh?
Yeah.
Let's shut off the phone in the meantime. Let's shut off the phone. Yeah. That's the first time it goes off. I don't know why I turned the ringer off, but clearly not. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Dickinson played 30 minutes a game in the Memorial Cup and down the stretch in the playoffs. Hunter loves him. He didn't look out of place. I don't think he's got great offensive instincts, but that's nitpicking. I mean, he's huge. He's got a great motor. He can skate like the wind. He can join the rush and create offense that way. He's got a good shot from the point. He's going to score goals. He's going to be a good stout defender. He's going to play 20 plus minutes a game, almost guaranteed. Now, he may not put up huge point totals, but he's going to be a minute muncher, top 3 defenseman all day. That's the safest defenseman in this.
All right. One. Let's get to Ivan Demidov. I asked Snake on Friday, I said to him, why am I getting the feeling that this could be like Michkov 1 year ago? And don't get me wrong, completely different situations. The things we heard from Michkov off the record, not a great teammate, attitude problem, difficult to get a hold of, very high maintenance. You're not hearing any of that with Demidov. But this whole Russian angle of you don't get to see them as much, You don't know when they'll come over, even though, I mean, I think he's represented by Dan Milstein and has got pretty high success rate of coming over. Demidov. Yeah. But because of all of this whole Russian factor, this and that, I said, is it possible that Demidov will slip and be available at 5 when the Canadians pick? And he said, yes, it's possible. And today, a couple of days after that, we're hearing, once again, yes, it's possible. And you tweeted, you're hearing that there's a chance that he'll be available at 5.
At 4, for sure. Like, and it's because, well, teams value defensemen, obviously. It's a good defense crop. There's the Russian factor always, obviously. He's a 5'11" Russian winger. As talented as he is, there's a 6'7" Russian defenseman who skates like the wind that a team may value more. And there's other players like the top 4 forwards or 5 forwards in this draft class are phenomenally good, I think. And I might even have 5 forwards ranked in my top 5. It's, it's possibility. So,
by the way, I agree with that. And once again, I don't watch these players a lot. I'm just going on, a lot of information that I gather, right? But based on the information I've gathered, it seems to me that although a lot of people think this is a defense-heavy draft, it seems to me that there's not one defenseman that separates himself from the pack. And I understand that the scouts are thinking it's Levshunov, but I'm not so sure about that. And so if a lot of defensemen don't separate themselves from the pack, I'm not so sure that a lot of teams will actually take defense early. Now, you said they value them, and I value your opinion, and I'll take it to the bank.
Oh, they always do.
But I'm wondering if this could be a draft where teams draft by need more than by position. If they draft defense, they're drafting by position, but or need as well. But is it possible that if they draft a Seneca 3rd overall, a team says, you know what, I needed a power forward and that's it. I needed a big winger and that's it. Or how do you see it?
Well, I think it's just more so that forwards have climbed and defensemen, and none of the defensemen, as you say, have just jumped out and, grabbed the bull by the horn. So for that reason, it closed. Like at one point, I think I had, 6 of the top 8 guys I had ranked were defensemen.
Yeah.
But then Seneca just kept getting better and better. Iginla rose in the draft rankings.
Yeah.
Right. Lindstrom just kept, he was scoring a goal a game almost. He climbed before his injury. And Perek didn't have a great playoff and Memorial Cup, really.
No, he did not. No.
So he's cooled. Guys have cooled some, and including me on him.
Yeah.
So at one point I had him 3rd overall. I don't have him 3rd overall anymore, and I don't think many people do. There's some questions still about his defense that when there's questions, there's less, say what you will about taking the most talented player or whatever, but when you're picking in the top 10, you don't want to miss. And teams put a lot of stock into the player's floor as well as the ceiling. You got to balance the two. Yeah, you want to, maybe you want to go for the home run guy, but top 5, you may not. And it's because of that where we've seen it in the past where a safe player is valued very high, that maybe Demidov is there at 4 or 5.
I hear you. Talk to me about his countrymate.
Surin?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they played against each other in the NHL playoffs, and Surin had a fantastic playoff, but I loved him all year. And he was ranked, I don't know, 50th overall on a lot of lists, 50 back. And I watched him early and saw him just cream a couple of players. And with Instat, it's great because you can look at certain things, right? Categories.
Of course.
So I went to hits, and I looked at all of his hits. in the last few games that he played, and it just blew me away.
Yeah.
And then I looked at his hits for the whole season, and this was early in the year, and I said, oh, geez. So I got to look at last year too. And he's just a bulldozer. Just absolute. I've never seen a Russian that hits like this guy. And he loves to hit, but also very skilled.
You've never seen a Russian that hits like Surin.
No, no, I haven't. Not a forward, at least, like maybe Kasparaitis or someone like that on defense, or if you wanted to go way back. But
Ovechkin is pretty hard.
Yeah.
I know he's not known for it, but
no, he just loves to hit, and I've never seen a prospect run over. Like when he hits, he knocks guys down on their back, and it's constant. But he put up great numbers. Not as eye-popping as Demidov, but very good numbers considering the style of game he plays. He was outstanding third best scorer in the playoffs, like an assist a game, put the team on his back and got them to the MHL finals. And, scouts have come around on him as they studied video on him. Unfortunately, we don't get to see these guys play live, but the guys that did take a deep dive into Surin, really impressed by him. And I've heard there are some scouts I think that have him top 15 now. So now I think he's a wild card, and I wouldn't doubt that he doesn't go that high. And because you don't get to see him and the Russian and all that stuff, maybe he's there at 25. Or, early 20s in Montreal. I don't know if Montreal likes him, but I think he'd be a perfect fit for the Canadiens in a top 9 role down the road. And if they did end up with Demidov, like I said in those tweets, try to get Surin too. I don't know if the Canadiens like him or not. I do know that certainly with Bobrov being one of the main guys, that if he likes a Russian, and we've seen it in the past, if he likes a Russian, then they'll draft him, right? Like they did, like the Rangers did Kravtsov. That didn't work out, but
no,
I'm sure a lot of it was on, the input from Bobrov. So, but unlike Kravtsov, I think Surin would be a good pick for the Canadiens. Anywhere after 20.
In ending, because once, of course, during the playoffs and in the summer, it's abbreviated editions of the Sick Podcast. So I'll end it with this. I know you know Trevor Timmins well, like you mentioned, but you also said before, Trevor doesn't have final say. But knowing Trevor, your gut feeling, Seneca's available, Lindstrom's available. Once again, he doesn't have final say. I get it. But when he looks over at his staff, do you have a feeling either way of which one you think he would prefer? I mean, does it mean anything that he drafted Galchenyuk third and Kotkaniemi third with the Canadiens? Does that mean he's got a preference for centerman, or does it mean that he felt he had to help his general manager out by drafting centerman because his general manager had said that they were so difficult to acquire via trade?
Well, anytime that you think that you're drafting a top 2 center with size and physicality, I mean, he's got to love both of them. I really think so. And he's got a really difficult decision on his hands.
The center always takes precedence, of course, unless the back issue is something concerning.
Right. But I also think that Seneca has higher offensive upside. And as you know, he's 6'3", same size as Lindstrom, and people didn't, but I mean, he's 30 pounds less or whatever. However, you look at that two ways, right? You're not drafting for next year. You're drafting for 3 years down the road. And there's a good chance that Seneca in 3 years puts on more weight than Lindstrom, because Lindstrom's already 213. I don't think he's putting on much more. Like I saw him at the combine there, and he's ready to roll. You know, he might put on another 5-10 pounds, but Seneca could put on 25. And
imagine how much better he's going to be when he fills out.
Well, that's it, you know. And I am certain that Trevor's having some sleepless nights, just trying to pinpoint which of these guys he likes the most, because I'm sure Demidov, it's difficult to pass on that skill too, because he's just amazing with the puck. So,
Grant, I'm sure Montreal Canadiens fans and hockey fans around the world are going to have a lot of sleepless nights when your draft guide comes out. So once again, let's bring up the picture. Where are you at with this, and tell people where they can pick it up, Grant?
Well, I'm almost done the top 65 profiles, which I do a little extra writing on. Got some great articles sent to me this week, and I got them laid out. Mock draft that I have to lay out a few things, and then editing, a few bits and pieces that I got to fill in on the draft guide. But I'm aiming for Thursday, Friday to have it out, certainly by the weekend, and we'll be promoting it heavily next weekend, coming weekend.
He is the co-host of the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast, along with Shane Gaumont. Grant McCagg, thanks for joining me, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony.
The Sick Podcast, once again, special thanks to Energy Transportation Group, to Bittt, to Tibi, to Playground, and Souflaki Authentique in Boisbriand. I'll see you all there on Thursday, June 13th at 1 p.m. A special thanks and shout out to Terry and Costa. I'll be at 410 Chemin de la Grande Côte in Boisbriand. Souflaki Authentique, Thursday, June 13th, a 1 p.m. live broadcast. Be there, drop by, have some great souflaki at the same time while we're talking Habs hockey. Franiello and Sammy at Master Control. They're Cavallaro. Have a great night. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.